Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new Pallbearer album, Forgotten Days. Pallbearer are a Little Rock, Arkansas-based doom metal band. They've been at it for a couple of years now, and towards their band's infantry, honestly, a lot of people were sending them my way. A lot of people were telling me to check them out. And you know what? I got the hype. Their debut album, Sorrow and Extinction, was just a great doom metal record. It was crushing, it was heavy, but it was also deeply emotional, and it had this human touch that metal was kind of missing at the moment. And they really upped their game even more with their follow-up album, Foundations of Burden. Oof, this is a great album. It's heavier, it's more emotional, and all around it's just a very well-made album. Now, 2017's Heartless has always been a little iffy to me. I did like the band's more vast, progressive sound here. There were moments on here on tracks like I Saw the End where I totally got what they were going for. Much more cinematic vibes of this album were pretty cool, but at the same time I worried that most of this album they were kind of going for that but also giving up what made them so heavy and crushing to begin with. Now, the singles leading up to this new album have been heavier, shows them going back in that direction again. Let's chat about this. This album starts off with its title track, Forgotten Days, and honestly, this is just not for me. I don't think this works. From the first time that I heard this track, I wasn't feeling it. Sorry. I mean, if you look into the specifics of this track, it's Pallbearer by the books. It's got a very strong, classic doom metal feel. The Black Sabbath vibes are out in effect. Why is it so stiff? Why is it so rigid? There is no emotion in sight. That's always what's really drawn me to their music. This, however, is just so rigid. However, I don't have all bad things to say about this. That chorus is fantastic. The guitar solo, when it comes in, just completely takes me over, and the production's pretty stellar. I feel a lot of the same things towards Silver Wings. As a matter of fact, Silver Wings is my least favorite track here. This is just a very by-the-books progressive doom metal tune. And the sad part is there are once again elements that I like. I like the crunchiness to it. I love how dark it is. It's bulky and it just rolls through everything in its path. But the rest of this track is some of the most predictable doom metal I've heard in a long time. I'm just shocked that this runs out of steam as quickly as it does. I mean, there's some pretty epic moments at the finale, but this did not need to be 12 minutes. So personally, I don't think Pallbearer has completely got their groove back. But a lot of this album, they do trend back in the heavier, more emotional direction of their first few albums. Riverbed is awesome. I love how crushing this is. It's just dirtier sounding, more crunchy. There's so many layers to this track, and the vocals here are exactly where I want to hear them. There are some psychedelic passages. There are some more emotional passages. This, for me, is kind of the progression that I wanted to see. It's also just so visual. It feels to me like a journey. Stasis is just as determined, just as focused sounding. If you enjoyed their early days, you're going to want to hear this. The riffs are powerful, the atmosphere is epic, the instrumentals are super gritty, and there's just tons of emotion. You get it all here in spades, and once again, this just feels like a happening. But once again, most importantly, Pallbearer just seemed like the band to push doom metal into the future. And the sort of cosmic passage we get towards the end is a stroke of genius. The Quicksand of Existing is one of my favorite tracks here. This may just be the most Pallbearer by the books track here, but honestly, that's fine by me. It's just so gritty and cinematic. Listening to this, I feel like I'm watching Mad Max Fury Road or something. All around, the performances are right on target too. And Vengeance and Ruination is fantastic as well. This is even heavier, grittier, and even more epic. Some of the breakdowns are fantastic, a great touch. Not only that, but it brings across this sort of more sinister side of Pallbearer's music that I don't think they touch down upon enough. Every second here just seems to be so full of purpose. I love this. And Rite of Passage might be the dreariest track here. It is just so twisted sounding, but at the same time, those guitars are so triumphant. And the vocals here are some of my favorites as well. They are just melodic enough, just catchy enough to stick with you. Just a really great medium for Pallbearer. Now, Caledonia, I kind of middle on the road on as far as the finale goes. The emotions here are absolutely in check. This is a tragic sounding song. As far as a doom metal funeral dirge goes, this is right where it should be. It's also oddly triumphant. When those guitars come in, it is epic. But sadly, I feel like the second half of this track really does fall apart. Some of the vocals aren't up to snuff with me on here. The only thing I'm really kind of into for the rest of the track is that chorus, which is fantastic. It's just not the finale that I wish that I heard. It's just not as precise, not as focused as other tracks here. It's a grim reminder that Pallbearer are back on track, but not quite there just yet. So you know what, overall, I'm not nearly as disappointed with this as I was with their last album. That I didn't really know what they were doing on. But this, is much heavier, it's much grittier, it's much more focused, and honestly, most importantly, it shows Pallbearer really, focused on pushing doom metal into the future once again, which is important. You know what, it's decent. It's a very safe doom metal album in 2020. There's a lot of good, but there's also some iffy parts to it. But if you're a doom metal fan or a Pallbearer fan, you're going to want to hear this. I'm feeling a decent 7 on this. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. Until next time, have a great day, guys.